This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable others to be able to locate this podcast. And you can find Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, and everywhere podcasts are located. Today I want to talk about the grounded leader. This is a very unsettling time, as you are aware of. There is an old term, an acrostic that came up during the time of the Cold War. And I believe the acrostic, which is the letters VUCA, VUCA, which the V stands for volatile, the U stands for uncertain, the C stands for complex, and the A stands for ambiguous. And if we ever lived in VUCA times, it would be right now. Everything seems volatile, uncertain. We don't have any idea of when and what and how we're going to do certain things. What will our jobs, will our places be around? Will there be a place for us? What's going to happen in our world with illness and unrest and other kinds of some good and some not so good changes that are happening? The world just appears to most of us to be much more complex than it was years ago. I'm not sure that there was any day that didn't seem somewhat complex to the people living through it, but there is something within the psychology of human beings that we long for the good old days when things we thought were easier, and they never really existed. And there's just a lot of ambiguity, and you put that all together, and it's causing lots of angst and feelings of even despair in some people. So how do you stand in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous time? How do you keep your head? How do you keep your heart aligned? How do you stay grounded and connected? Well, let's talk about it for a little while. One of those is there are certain areas of your life you need to make sure you're doing okay. I'm going to start with your spiritual health. I'm a person of faith. And there is a life beyond our goals, beyond our finances, beyond anything else, and that it's important. It's what does really, in fact, ground us. It reminds me in all of the craziness of my life and all of the trials and different things that happen, there's something bigger than what is happening right now. That much of what we're dealing with could, in sense, when you compared to the spiritual, be trivial. And so it keeps you grounded by having a spiritual connection. Not just having it in name only, or my family's culture is this faith, but something that's real. You pray, you worship, you study the scriptures. You need spiritual health in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous times. The second thing that you must not neglect in these kinds of times is physical health. Often I have been amazed that as I have begun exercising, everyone understands that it's good for your body, but it has helped me emotionally, mentally. It just really clears your mind, kind of pushes through the fog of discouragement. Take care of yourself. If you haven't for a while, then just start slowly, but get up, get moving, watch your diet, just do something. Because if your physical health begins to fail you, it adds another layer of complexity, uncertainty, volatility, and ambiguity. So if you haven't done so yet, I can think of no better time that I've been living in where taking care of your physical health is absolutely essential. Don't forget, thirdly, your emotional health. Now, I am by nature maybe a little more optimistic than others, but you will get what you feed into yourself. And if you're on social media or watching television, you will get negative. You will become pessimistic. You will become discouraged. You're going to have to go out of your way to find the kinds of podcasts, books, to read that will feed your faith and your optimism. If there was ever a day where we need our leaders to be optimistic and enthusiastic and to point the way and to not just get down on the curb and get discouraged with us. So be aware if you're one of those who has a tendency to get discouraged and become quite pessimistic. You're going to have to guard against that. I would say by the morning and the evening, feed your faith, feed your mind, feed your heart, positive messages, keeping yourself emotionally grounded. The grounded leader must be spiritually grounded, must have their health in order, and must be emotionally healthy. Well, you know where this is headed. Number 4 leads me to saying, don't neglect your intellectual health. Don't lose your sense of wonder. Don't lose your desire to find and discover new truth. Always remain curious. Develop a mindset that always says, I haven't learned it all, and today I want to learn something new. I want to be able to receive even contradictory information and be able to sift it out and sort through it and figure out what I am supposed to do. Don't forget about your social health. That would be number 5. Strong personal relationships and connections really do form the foundation for a healthy life. We need people. We are social creatures. We really do need each other. We need each other not just to encourage us, but to challenge us. We need people that we can bounce ideas off of, people who will listen to us, not so much with a judging attitude, but will help us find our way through. And not only do you and I need people, but there are people in our lives who need us. First and foremost are our families and our close friends. In the midst of all of this volatile, this uncertain, complex, ambiguous time, don't forget your family is also experiencing this, and some of your closest friends. And if you haven't done so for a while, why don't you check in with maybe some of your distant relatives or relatives you don't see as often, or friends that maybe you've lost a little contact with, and just make up your mind today to be an encourager. Another one is your work health. Do you understand why you are where you are and what you're supposed to be doing? And are you getting better? Are you neglecting some important decisions that need to be made vocationally just because you're nervous, you're anxious, but you know the decision needs to be made? Be a grounded leader. We don't get to choose the seasons. We don't get to choose the public events that happen. We don't get to choose what political party's in power or not, or who we like or who we don't like. You still have to lead, whether it's a full moon, whether it's bright, whether it's sunny, or whether it's raining. So you can't go on forever using an excuse that now is not the good time to make a decision. You are there to do those sorts of things. Well, another thing that will help keep you and I grounded is we have to keep our vision in mind. And right now, people are a little bit have been rocked back on their heels, and there's a tendency to just kind of stop doing anything. This might be a wonderful opportunity. I won't say might. This is a marvelous opportunity to recommit to your vision. It's time to look at it from other angles. It's time to even ask yourself, now, I believed this and committed myself toward this when things were in a different place than we are now. Though my life may have changed, has the initial things that went in to helping me formulate these visions and goals, have they changed? And if not, A grounded leader will recommit to their vision, the one that drives them. This will help you stay grounded when you know what it is you're doing and what you're about. Another thing that a grounded leader does right now is communicate what's going on, what you think needs to happen, and what your expectations are. Think very carefully. People do not need a lot more discouragement, though you can't sugarcoat the truth. Be aware of where people are and what they're thinking, but communicate your expectations. Communicate, we're here for the long haul. We're going to make it, and you're going to make it with us. I think a grounded leader, it's once again a time to be reminded that in leadership, one must remain flexible. There are times when we have to bend in all sorts of directions. We have to bend without breaking. And there are often times when you think, I don't think I can bend anymore, or I will, in fact, break. So flexibility is not giving up your ground. It's holding your ground, but bending, being flexible, looking at different ways that you can do things, perhaps having to do some short-term compromises in order to get through a difficult season, but with the idea that we are not going to abandon our vision and we are still committed to the task at hand. Your people really need to hear that from you, leader, and so strengthen those. One of the things that I think you need to do during this time, as we've already mentioned, is don't forget how others are feeling. Other people are quite terrified. So this is a time to deepen our awareness of others. I've kind of been looking at an area of self-awareness, but we need to deepen our awareness of others. This is a great time to see things from their perspective. You can call it empathy. You can call it compassion. It really doesn't matter. But are you trying to view things from the way others are seeing and experiencing, especially in this volatile, uncertain, chaotic, complex, ambiguous time? We are constantly, my friends, being buffeted by the winds of change. There are these times, these seasons, when the winds seem to have almost tornado or hurricane-like strength. And we wonder, will anything be left standing when we get through this? Right now, leader, you need to take some deep breaths, really take stock of where you are, what you believe, who you are, what do you personally need to change. And then you can move on to saying, here's where our organization needs to change and get better. Here are some other ways that we need to improve. It's a wonderful time to check in. Are you taking care of yourself, your body, soul, spirit? Are you really taking care? Are you reaching out to others? Oftentimes when we're discouraged or facing trials, one of the greatest ways to get out of that is to close the doors, go find someone else who's discouraged, and try to tell them, we're going to make it. I believe in you. Together, let's get through this. My leadership friends, this is not the end of the world or the end of the road or the end of the line. Throughout the human history, there have always been challenging, trying times, and that is one of the reasons we need leaders. We need people at the helm who can tell us, I've been through rough waters before. I've experienced setbacks before. There have been times of overwhelm, of extreme volatility, of unbearable, seemingly, uncertainty. The complexities are there. We acknowledge them. But together, my friends, we're going to make it through this ambiguous time. And what will keep us grounded is if we're spiritually grounded, physically grounded, intellectually grounded, we're grounded in our relationships, we've revisited our vision, and we understand who we are, why we are where we are, and what it is we've been called to do. And then with God-given determination, we push ahead and we make it. The world needs you right now, my leadership friend. We need the unique contributions you are going to make and are making. And I believe you have been raised up for such a time as this. Your industry needs you. Your customers need you. Your family needs you. Your community needs you. Your world needs you. Don't give up. Rather than scattering, this is a time to become more grounded in the things that are of value and the things that matter. You have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this has been like a vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating, and if you could leave a brief written review, it would be very helpful. In uncertain times like this, my leadership friend, do not ever forget you are doing good work. You are important. You're making a difference. You really, really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.